I hope you're sitting down and I hope you've taken your blood pressure tablets, because I actually want to show you what, in fact, is happening when it comes to these channel crossings. Let me start by showing you this. So this is from today. Watch. So if you're listening on the radio, let me describe to you the scenes that you are seeing. You are seeing scores of men. Sorry, Darren Jones, these are men. You are seeing scores of men in water so shallow it could barely even be called a puddle, before they then start running into the channel. And there are loads of them, and they are all running and running and running, getting ready to board this so-called small boat. And I mean, you can see just how shallow this water is. And whilst I'm talking to you, you've all got to remember the fact that we are paying the French. I think it's something like £700 million so far to try and get them to stop this. So here we are. They are now atop of this so-called small boat. I mean, this thing is absolutely packed to the rafters. And you can see, ladies and gents, this is shallow water. So we're not goodness knows how many miles out from shore. You can see this is at best, if I'm going to be generous, ladies and gents, it is at best waist height. Well, look at this. So up rocks the French. I will remind you, we've paid these people £700 million. They are supposed to be preventing this. If you're listening on the radio, up rock the French in their dinghy, and they hand out life jackets. They are handing out, for their voyage on a so-called small boat, handing out life jackets. Well, let's take a look, because it doesn't stop there, ladies and gents. Oh, no, let's look at this next one. Because now, off they go on their merry way. Let me get you this second clip, because you won't believe your eyes. Here we go. Let's see what they're there. This is footage filmed by one of these migrants. They're on their boat, and up rocks another French support crew. It's like the equivalent, if you like, of the RNLI. This time, they're handing out refreshments to said migrants on said small boat. So just to remind you all, this is a boat of illegal migrants departing in very shallow water from a country that we are paying hundreds of millions of pounds to stop these crossings. If this is not actually the French encouraging and enabling these crossings, I don't know what is. These illegal migrants on this boat are absolutely delighted to be refreshed in this way. I don't know what I'm going to see next, ladies and gents, when all of this carries on. Is it going to be them getting served an afternoon tea, some sandwiches for their voyage along? And let me just show you, actually, these things that we call small boats, the size of these things. And it's all well and good, isn't it, talking about, yeah, we're going to clamp down on the business of this and the business of that. This, when I saw this footage today, look at the size of these small boats. These are not small boats. And actually, when you look at the amount of people that are on these boats now, it's almost equivalent to the occupancy of a double-decker bus. So why are we keeping calling these things small boats and enabling that kind of language? I'm not going to do it anymore. On this programme, from here on in, I will never refer to these things as a small boat ever, ever again. I'm going to start referring to them as illegal migrant ferries, because that's what they are. I mean, Kelvin Mackenzie, I find this, when I sit in here day in, day out, telling pensioners you're going to get freezing cold in your own home this winter, talking to disabled people about the fact that they're absolutely terrified that they're going to lose their benefits, listening to farmers on the edge of suicidal kind of tendencies because they too are going to get absolutely squashed, hearing about ridiculous secret deals that are done to the tune of billions of pounds, and then you see that this is what is going on. It is so infuriating, and I don't feel like Keir Starmer actually acknowledges the severity of what is going on. What do you feel when you see those images?
Well, what we're seeing is, and remember, Starmer has turned out to be totally useless and sort of given chocolate teapots a good name, really, to be honest. But so had previous politicians from the Conservative Party. Nobody wants to address this issue because actually the reality is, to stop it, we have to turn the boats back.
No,
and to turn
slash the boat. Well, this notion that we need to turn the boat.
Right,
that
but all right,
dinghy-
slash the boat. The French are not going to do it. They are not going
Well,
to
then
do
stop
what
paying them then.
Okay,
Stop paying.
paying them. I agree with you. Stop paying them, but also face a very difficult issue. We will literally come very close to war. Okay? We want to turn them back, or we want them to slash the boats. They won't slash the boats, right? They only did it, actually, as it turned out to be.
Crew.
They fooled me. It was a PR exercise, right? It fooled me, right? So what are we going to do? We can talk about it. Starmer is never going to go to battle over it. So if that's not going to happen, we are going to be watching disgraceful scenes like this literally for the next 4 years. And when Farage gets in, this is the greatest recruiting film for Nigel Farage's reform in history, right? And this will carry on for years.
Aaron?
Well, I'm curious what Farage can do because, of course, what they're doing in France is not illegal. They're in France already. Many of them could stay there permanently if they wanted to. The point is, once, of course, they've crossed that border into British waters, it's at that point it becomes an offence. And I think this is really instructive footage because it really does show how little the French are doing, right? I mean, it's kind of extraordinary, actually. And I think that's the major problem for whoever governs this country, is that the French aren't stopping these leaving. That is the number one question that needs to be addressed.
So how are we going to deal with that?
Well, you can't because it's French territory, right?
Right.
But you've got to immediately pull the funds. Has Keir Starmer, or heaven forbid, David Lammy, immediately been into the office of Macron and told them in no uncertain terms, there is not a single penny more coming from this country to your country until these boats get slashed? That is it. It stops.
I think it probably wouldn't even need to be slashed. I mean, you could probably have a situation where you don't have certain people being processed in places north of X. The idea that you have large numbers of people inhabiting right across the north of France with access to being able to do this, I think is in nobody's interest. So I think what you've done there is focusing on the French authorities and, you know, frankly, a complete absence of control. And they don't want control because, of course, they're happy for people to leave France and go to the UK. Yeah. It's going to take somebody, if you care about this stuff, it's going to take somebody who is going to play some kind of poker game with the French. But as Kelvin says, that's really high stakes. You know, we have a lot of economic trade with the French. They're an ally, etc.
And it will affect something. It will not only affect the French. The French will go to Brussels and say this is not just a war against France. This is a war against the EU because we all suffer from it. So it's in everybody's interest to solve this, but it's not in the French interest to solve it because that means that they have those people wandering around northern France rather than coming here. It is very difficult. And the truth about the matter is, for Starmer, he's just decided, I'm going to tough this out over 4 years. I don't care. They're likely to vote Labour anyway.
Oh, I can tell you, there was more footage that I could show you that really, really would have infuriated you all. But I thought to myself, do you know what? I don't want to tip you all over the edge because I do want you to stay with me until 7 o'clock because there's lots more that we need to discuss. I want to talk about the Labour MP, Jess Phillips. I mean, where do I even begin with this one? I'll see you in 2.